And here we go again. Thursday edition. You can't do that on Salesforce. I'm your friendly neighborhood Tom. We're back to Forceopoly. It's been a little while. It's been a little while since we've Forceopolyed on the show. And yeah, we missed it last week. And it's been so long that my scratch org has disappeared. I came to find out today. Fortunately, we have a backup, but we are going to have to do a little bit of vamping here at the start of the show as I was caught unawares of my missing sandbox. Not sandbox, scratch org. But we'll crank it up and we'll get it going here. While that's cooking, maybe we can take a look at some backlog. What I would like to do is start looking at Forceopoly and revisiting the flows that are driving this thing. Start really like testing the logic, and maybe we test it in the context of bringing the board, all those Lightning Web components that we built, aligned with the flows that are handling all the game logic and rules, and see if we can start making things happen like as a game. I am very confident that things are going to be broken. I'm very confident that there's some flows that are dying to be refactored because they were getting real big real fast. So this might be a lesson in flow refactoring best practices tonight. And that's okay, because it will not be a dull moment here while we work on the app. So yeah, well, what else can I keep saying while we wait for our scratch org to pop up? And then we're going to have to push our code, and then we're going to have to make some data. At least we have some scripts for those things. So no big deal. We'll get it all going here. And let's see. Hopefully that scratch org doesn't take too long to pop up. Meanwhile, we'll let the world know what we're up to here. Thursday episode. Had a great time last night on Rock, Paper, Scissors. Show started a little slow, but I feel like it ended really well. I felt like I had a lot more direction on how to build that thing than I did before. So yeah, that was cool. That was cool. And just gonna ping out here that the... Oh, that was weird. Huh. Just noticed that yesterday, that's really weird. Twitter didn't post the right update last night. Oh well. Or I was probably so delirious that I just didn't do it right. That could definitely happen also. Anyway, we're just going to watch the grass grow here for a minute while our scratch org keeps cooking. Episode 23. Whew, man, that scratch org. I'll tell you what. This might be the episode tonight. What did you guys do? Well, we were going to work on Forceopoly, but we made a scratch org instead. So it goes. That's all right. That's how it goes. I've made them before, and they go real fast, and sometimes they go real slow. And I remember a long time ago, we used to joke about the California effect on sandboxes. It looks like it ran. Okay, cool. We on the East Coast would make our sandbox requests early in the morning before quote unquote California came online, because there was a precipitous drop in the speed that sandboxes used to be created if you waited till the afternoon. I don't know if that was real or not, but it definitely seemed like that was there was some effect there. So all right, we got scratch org. Let's get in there, make sure it's alive, and then we will push our code, which hopefully won't take too long. Did I push a button? Did that happen? Let's open that org. All right. Somewhere this is opening. There it is. Can't find my tag, or not my tag, my tab. All right, we got an org. Cool. Let's push our stuff here. Push source. Yeah. And then we also got a script here somewhere so we can initialize some data. We'll do that in a minute. Hopefully the push plays nice. We don't have to chase our tail with any of that tonight. Anyway, I need to make a few more of these scripts. I realize I probably need the same thing for cards in Forceopoly. Maybe a few other things. I have a feeling there's some stuff that because it's been a while and I've just been used to having the scratch org there holding everything, that there's probably more data to create than I thought. What are you complaining about? The field API version can't be 56. Okay, I don't know how it got to be 56 in the first place. Let's fix that. We can make you 55, I think. I don't expect that to save, but okay. I'm not sure what it's 56, what is that? 56 is that winter? I'm not even sure what version of scratch org we got here. Let me refresh a page. We're still summer. That must have been why it was unhappy about that. Let's see, did anything else push, or are we just dead in the water here? Yeah, we got to get everything else back out. Come on, stop trying. It's not going to work. Kind of a slow push tonight, though. Not sure if that's going to be good news or bad news. Okay, that worked. That was kind of weird. Oh, I see. All right, hold on. We might be good. Maybe, possibly. go find out. The test will be the permission set, because I got to grant that to myself anyway. And I should grant that before I start throwing data in here, or I'm going to be bummed out. Hey, we got it. Okay, cool. Weird. I don't know why that. I don't know why that flow wanted to be a new version. It's kind of interesting. But anyway, here we are. Assign that to user. Oh, yes. I always forget about this new step. There we go. All right, I think we're legit. Let's run a script and get some code in here. Let's get some data in here. Come on. Let's see, where are we? Scripts, shell. Oops. And okay. Last time I ran this, we had a problem. I forget with the bulk data. I forget what it was. Well, I think it's because we had a new field or something. Status closed, process good. All right, cool. We got data. That was just property stuff. Let's see how we did. Good. We got properties. We're good to go. All right. Now, let's see. We have some flows that do some stuff. You know, it's been such a little while that I feel like maybe a little bit of inventory is needed to remember all the moving parts we've got here. So let's we'll start collecting some notes while we go through this. This will give us an opportunity to test out a few things also. So we should have a flow to create a new game. Create new game here. Just going to capture a few things here. So create new game. That's a flow, and that is at this location. I don't know if that's actually going to be the. Probably could just get away with that. Yeah, let's run this. Let's pick 2 players. I'm going to just make them the same. Doesn't really care. Battleship versus boot. So we got at least 2 players, so our flow is smart enough to know that, hey, you can't play Monopoly by yourself. Defeats the purpose because you're already the Monopoly. You got to beat somebody to be the Monopoly. But we'll just make it a 2-player game. And that should crank up and make all the stuff that we need. And hopefully that's what it did. It didn't just skip out on us. That's interesting that it made 2 games. I guess we need to look into that. Hey, look at that. We got a board. That's not quite correct, but I wonder what we're missing there. Seems really close, doesn't it? What flavor of board was this that we? Hopefully this was the. This looks like the. Yeah. This has got the columns and the grids and the. Oh, we just don't have. I think there was like a resizing. Well, anyway, we got 2 games. I don't know why we got 2 games. Do we have 2 players in both games? Player 1, player 2. We got all our game properties. And then I want to look at this second game here. Nope, it didn't do anything. Why did we get an empty game? Bugs. Let's start a bug list. Let's see. Create new game. Created 1 full game and 1 empty game. That second game didn't get any people or players assigned to it, so this one is junk. I'm just going to delete it, but I guess it's good to know that that's going on. But we got 1 good game here in game 0. And all right, what other flows do we have? So create new game generally works. Made an extra game for us, not sure why. We'll have to look into that some other time. And then what else do we have? We have get next player, which I believe is a subflow that, yeah, this does some logic for us to check. Let me write this down. Get next player. That's a flow. This is a flow. Create new game. Creates a new game. Get next player. We use that. That's a subflow that gets used to, let's see, figure out. Let's see, for the player, if the sequence is greater than the current player's sequence and the game equals the game and the ID is not the current player, then we'll use that record. And then we have kind of a fallback that because of sequence, if we get to the end and we don't have any more sequence, then we just get the next player basically. That also occurs if we don't have any player whatsoever. Then we just bypass. Whoops, we bypass in this decision. Like, I don't have a current player coming into this call, so I'm just going to assume we don't have one. So I'll just pull the first player out of the list. All right, that's cool. That is a subflow that gets used in other places. Let's call these what they are. That's a screen flow to make a new game. This is a subflow. And that is that. What else have we got? We've got collection seed test, I think, is just junk. Oh yeah, I built that as a we can get rid of that. that's bogus. Let's clean that up. I had to do a quick experiment because someone was asking a question, and it was similar to what we do somewhere else in Forceopoly. I forget where, but creating a what do you call it? Creating a collection. Excuse me. Creating a collection. But while you're iterating the collection, you're adding to the collection, so you can dynamically fill a collection up to the size that you want it to be. And so if you're going to count stuff or whatever, because you need something to count in a flow. If you don't have it, you gotta create it. Let's delete this because this is just junk and noise in our system. Okay, cool. We've got to pay rent, which I feel like we were working on that last time. So our next flow is pay rent. I think this is a subflow also, which we call from the main kind of game logic primary flow. Yeah, so what do we do here? We pass in. What do we pass in? We pass in the game property. We pass in the player. And we determine if, well, at this stage, we know that the player has to pay. So we load the owner of the property. And then we give money. We take money away from the player, and then we give it to the owner. And then we add those two transactions to not transactions. We add those players because we keep money kind of dumb and just we don't have like a transaction. Although I guess maybe we could, but that's for another day. We don't have like a transaction table or object that we put all those things into to keep track of them, but so be it. All right, so that's what that's doing, and then we update. So a very atomic flow does one job, takes money from one player, gives it to another. So this is a subflow also. Pay rent, subtract money from one player, add money to another player. Okay, so far so good. Close that. Reset password, return item, roll. There's a flow we got going on. Let's see here. We had to write a we wrote a kind of wild to think that this is how we roll in a so we added an Apex action to handle random. I want to get back in front of this. I thought there's something curious here that, well, we'll come back to another day, but it seems like it would be nice to be able to just call any Apex class, any standard object or standard data type method from Flow, because they're useful. Some things you still can't do, like a random in this case. So we call random and we get back. Random returns a number for us. This is where the loop collection piece kicks in. So yeah, we want to let's see, random in range. Just reorienting myself here. So we tell this how many sides of a die we're going to roll, and then it returns the value that is rolled. So we create this loop collection. Oh, and then I think we can ask it. We tell it how many times to roll. I don't think so. So we see the loop collection. We're going to loop over the loop collection. So it's basically how we determine if the random number that we're looking for is in range. It's I think this is kind of an example of like, this is a little bit complicated. But we tried to build it with Flow. So random in range is so because math random returns a decimal value, and we basically check to see if the random that it returns is between 0 and 1. So then this loop keeps looking for, well, it knows how many sides the die is, right? So we take 6. It's all coming back now. I should write this down before I forget it again. We tell this command roll, and roll a die with this many sides, 6, let's say. So it rolls. It does a random call, so you get between 0 and 1. And then if I take all the numbers between 0 and 1 and divide them into even sixths, one of those sixths is going to be or is going to contain the decimal value that comes back here. So we're basically looking to see, is this number less than or equal to 1/6? Is this number less than or equal to 2/6, 3/6, 4/6, 5/6, 6/6? So keeps checking, and when it finds it, it bails out. And if it doesn't find it, then it actually continues adding to the collection that is that it's processing, so it can perpetuate itself until it gets to the end. I think it's kind of a Rube Goldberg approach to building a flow. It's a little confusing, but hey, it works. So there you have it. So rather than we're just relying straight up on the plain old math.random call. That's the one Apex call that we make here, the one call to code, and then we can do the rest in flow with this approach. Would you want to do it this way? I don't know. This is probably not the most efficient flow in the world. That's the one downside with flow, is we can only have so many of these elements being hit. This isn't going to be a problem when we're just doing one of these isolated subflows, but if it got a little too loopy or got out of hand, then yeah, it might get expensive. But anyway, let's write that down. Roll. That's another subflow. Let's see. Does math.random. Let's see. You pass in sides. Returns value, weird flow looping stuff. Okay, there you have it. What else we got? Return item flow, that's not us. Reset password, that's not us. Shuffle game cards. Ooh, is that one? I don't think we finished that one, did we? Get sequence number. I didn't see that. Did I skip right over that? Oh, that's roll. Oh, okay. So, well, that's all right. Maybe this is smarter than I thought. We did build this. So we got this lets us take cards. So the scenario here is if I'm doing community chest or chance, and I get to the bottom of the deck, or those pile of cards, I gotta reshuffle it. So this will query out all the cards that are of a certain type. We have 2 record types, one for chance, one for community chest. We load whichever one we need there. I wonder if we actually need the. I think when we give it the record type, yeah, we're actually past. So, not to confuse things, but the card record type is the name of the record type. That's why we query out the ID of the record type so we can use it later. Then we load the cards. We're loading the cards from the dictionary, not the instances from the game. I don't know if that's a good idea or not as I talk through this, but there you have it. So we load those cards up. We get the count of those, and we're going to loop through those. We're going to use get sequence number to, we want the card count because we can roll, aka get a random number back. So each time I do that, I get a sequence number, And then I'm going to initiate the, I'm going to initialize a new game card from the, from the dictionary. So I believe somewhere we're just like trashing the cards from that are in the game, which I wonder if that's a great idea, because I think you hold on to whatchamacallit, you hold on to get out of jail, right? So we might be this might be an error. This might be taking away get out of jail from people. Let me write that down in case we have to come back to that. Let's see. Does card shuffle take away get out of jail card? Question mark? Don't know. Don't know about that. We'll have to check on that. So we create a card. We use that sequence number to just set the sequence, so then we can reorder, query out with that sequence, and then we've got, it's basically creating a random. In hindsight, I don't know if we even need. Well, I guess we do, because the number that I was thinking, do we even need to do make the roll call? But I think we do need to do that, because then we have to get like a whole number, because I think sequence expects a whole number. So bummer, but there you go. So loop through that, give each one a sequence, add to the game card collection, and then do we pass game card collection back? We do. All right, so we pass the game card collection back to the game. So we're not. What's curious though is, like, what do we do with the other game cards? I guess that's kind of the question. And also, could we do this without having? I wonder if we could just pass in the discarded game cards and reshuffle those the same way. Basically, just change the sequence, pass them back, and let whatever function is responsible save them and update that. Okay, so that's shuffle game cards. Some things that we can look at there for improvement. And what do we have next? Take turn. That's where all the... Did I write down shuffle game cards? I did not. This is... Whoops, I forgot to write the name of this one down. Roll. This flow is... this is... Shuffle game cards was another subflow. This creates a new shuffled deck of chance or community chest cards. And then the final flow, take turn. This is the monster. This is the big one. Let's get ready. I mean, it doesn't look terrible. There's a lot going on here. We have to do a lot to initialize up front. This is also a screen flow, so we can, step through. The intent of this screen flow is to walk you through your entire turn. I think it needs a whole lot more subflows, because let's see, if we talk through this, we have the concept of a turn in the game. So, and did I miss one other one? Create new game. Oh, I missed this evaluate. What was this one? Evaluate game property monopoly. Oh, this determines if this is another subflow. This determines if a player has a monopoly based on the cards that they are the owner of. Right, so let's get that one down. I missed that one. What do we call that? Evaluate game property monopoly. Determines if player is owner of all properties in a color set. There we go. Okay, so we're gonna use that over in our big monster flow here. So we have to initialize a lot of stuff. We got to roll dice for our player, and then we, you know what? Let's fire it up and see if it's actually walking through here. Your turn, click next to roll. Okay. You rolled a 6. Cool. Splat. Well, I guess we'll have to it probably ran through a whole lot of steps there, and then we blew up. So actually, let's see, where did it go? Where did it take us? All right, we went pretty far. Loaded our turn. Oh, we didn't find any turn results because we're not passing in a. It would probably help if we could pass in a game here, right? That would certainly help. Let's make this. We can pass this in, and then I'll just grab the Salesforce ID of whatever game we've got here. Needs some context to work correctly. Well, let's see how far we get. We hadn't batted this around too much before, so. All right, now I know my game. So we still failed to find a turn. Let's see. We must not have a turn record. And let's see, is that what, I wonder if that is what start game tried to do. Create new game. Let's look at this. I think this flow wanted to, I think the second game record it created was intended to be a turn record, and we just didn't do it right. So let's see. No, there it is. There's a game and turn. Get next player. Well, we should have a turn then. Let's see. We have the player, we have the properties, but we don't have a... do we just not have that related list here? This would be my first player. Oh, all right, well, let's hold on a second. Do we not have turn? I mean, that could be a problem, right? Do we not have permissions to show turns? If I can't create them, we're not going to be able to do much with them. No, they should be there. Let's take a quick look at the turn object. Make sure it's... To be fair, that is pretty old flow logic. So I wonder if it knows its game, master detail with the game, master detail with the player. Do we just not have it on those lookups? That seems really strange to not have it here. So let's edit this object. I probably should edit the game. I just want to see the turns somewhere. Make sure we actually have them. Okay, let's put turns out here. Not sure why we didn't in the first place. Let's do the same on the game. See it from both sides. Okay. Page layout here. I don't know why I didn't put this out here. It's pretty well. It won't be terribly useful in the long run because there will be a lot of these, but to at least see them is important. So there's our turn. That's our first turn. We don't know our roll yet. We don't know if we rolled a double yet. Did not result in a game property. So let's see what we're doing over here and take turn. Oh, I see. We want to pass in the turn ID. So I don't want the game ID. I want the turn ID here. Okay. Got it. Give me 1 second. I'm just gonna go grab a drink real quick. Be right back. I gotta make like a "we'll be right back." We'll be right back. Oop. I just realized I've been talking to y'all for like 5 minutes. And when I'm not busy choking, I've been muted. So that's cool. All that stuff was us figuring out how a roll works. Or how a turn works. So there you go. Try to edit that out, I guess. Okay, so this screen is only determining if we are... we only go to jail here because of rolls. If we roll 3 doubles in a row, we go to jail. So that's what's happening here. So let's see, I don't think we're going to jail in our take turn here. So let's continue on. If we don't go to jail, where do we go? We go to our roll. We load the position that we land on. We haven't done any logic with chance, community chest, or anything like that, so we're skipping that. Did we land on go to jail? That's the next question. In our case, no. We're starting from go, so that shouldn't happen. Did we pass go? No. Did we land on go? No, we shouldn't. We're moving from go. Okay. Where did we land? Well, if we set go to jail all the way through here, we bypass all that other stuff. Then we go down the 3 double roll jail condition. We land on a property that doesn't have an owner. That's another potential output. Let's look at the values here. So 3 double rolls, going to jail is true. Property, no owner. We load the property that we land on, and we can evaluate that. And oops, didn't mean to click that. We could also land on a property that we currently own, in which case we do nothing. All right, so there's that outcome. And then the property is owned by somebody else. So if the property is owned by somebody else, we have to pay rent. And we hit this step, which I think tells us what we have to pay. Let's double check that. You landed on property that is owned by owner. You owe owner money. We'll fix those merge fields at some point. Okay. And then if we land on property that doesn't have owner, not owned, would you like to buy it? If you don't buy it, it will go up for auction. Yep, nope. We have not enabled any auction logic yet. So if we say yes, radio yes, we're going to buy it. So I'm going to set the game property owner to the current player. I'm going to pay money. I'm going to take money from the player. We need to add that money. Actually, we don't. It's a bank transaction. So we don't need to do anything with it. We just need to take it away. If we wanted to be really clever, we could probably have some transaction table again, track that stuff. The turn from load turn outcome is we bought property. So on each turn, we can kind of track like, well, what happened at the end here? There's only so many things you can do, right? You can buy property, you can pay rent, you can go to jail. I suppose we could have this conversation we talked about before. Like, should you if you get a chance card, I suppose those could be outcomes, right? Because if you do chance and you have to pay money, then you're done. You sit on chance. Sometimes chance moves you to another step. Move forward 3 steps, roll. I don't think there's a roll again. I think it always takes you to somewhere specific. But anyway, there's potential outcomes there. So right now we just have these three outcomes. That's fine. So we're setting that, and we're going to turn off the current turn and update our turn record. And then the outcomes from here, if we're going to buy if our outcome was to buy the property, we want to determine if we have a monopoly. But I'm not sure why. Because I don't know. I don't think that's doing anything magical right now. I think the intent there was after we buy the property, should we go to the game property records and mark? I think we have a is monopoly checkbox on there that we want to check when that happens. So we might want to do that. Let me write that down. This is in take turn. What does eval monopoly do? Question mark? Question mark? Question mark? No idea offhand. Then we get the next player. Again, we got a subflow for that. Who's the current player? Do we need to pass the game ID here? I feel like we do. Maybe we don't. Maybe we don't. Let's take a look at that. Flows. I feel like I'm looking right at it. Next player. Get next player. Get next player will do something when it loads. Come on. Come on, for goodness sake. Fire it up. Let's go. Get next player. Let's just see what this is expecting. We do need the game ID, yeah. So let's fix that in... What step was that? Take turn, get next player. Pass game ID. If we don't pass the game ID, we're not going to know what game we're dealing with. I mean, hypothetically, I guess we don't need it, right? If we know the player, is that what we know that? What are we passing in there again? We're passing in the player, which it feels like if we know the player, then we know the turn. But I guess let me leave that question for myself. Or get from player record. Lots of question marks. Either way, we have to do something because it doesn't seem to know. Let's see. Because it looks for the game. The sequence is greater than the current player's sequence. We do need the game. Right, that's how we get context. Otherwise, we're going to query every player every player everywhere, and that won't be good. So we do need to pass in the game. We'll fix that. Either we're going to include it with the player, or we're going to we'll pass it independently. But anyway, back to take turn. I think we can move forward here. Let's find out what blows up. All right, we're on a property. We are. What property are we on? Let's see. Load game property by position. We rolled a 5, so let's look at a board. I should fix these merge fields. I'm going to write that down. Let's see. Come on over. All right, we're here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We're on Reading Railroad. So not much action around that. Well, that's interesting. I guess I tried to open my ping file in Visual Studio. Probably not going to work out really well. Okay, so take turn. We need to populate merge fields. Got it. Okay. So this probably says Reading Railroad is not owned by anyone. Would you like to buy it for $200? If you do not buy Reading Railroad, it will go up for auction. I'm going to yup because I don't really have any other option here. Or not that I don't have any other option. We don't do auction. Auction's going to be like a whole process unto itself. Which I suppose it kind of ends the turn, right? Well, because if you rolled a double, you could still go again. So it doesn't end the turn. But we're not going to build this tonight. But if auction was to, it kind of pauses the current turn, right? Because then we gotta start a process that says, hey, who wants to buy this? Right? And could we do that like out of sync? Could we basically let the we could let the player finish their turn. Or that could just be the end of their turn. Right? And we don't start a new turn until, even though the next turn will be their turn, we're in auction mode right now. So you're done, right? And plus if we're auctioning, it means that we landed on property. If we landed on property and didn't roll a double, then we're done anyway, whether it needs to be bought or not. If we landed on property and did roll a double, then we would just pick up with our next turn after that. So I think at the end of the day, the question is, does a turn, I think each roll constitutes a turn. So if you roll a double, you take a second turn. That would be a whole new turn. I think that would be cleanest. Anyway, we're not building any of that tonight. And auction is going to be a whole other thing that we have to decide on. We have to build a miniature eBay inside of Salesforce in order to do auction property for Monopoly. Cool. All right. I'm going to buy this property. I say, yep. Oh, we died. So close. How far did we get, though? We updated some records. So I think our turn is like kind of coming to an end. Come on, let's see you. Feels like a lot of stuff didn't get populated on the turn. Oh no, we updated game property. I see. All right, that wasn't. Current record count. Oh, we're in the do property or do monopoly thing. Load other game properties. Evaluate monopoly. All right, we're unchecking the boxes. It's not a monopoly. We're setting the game property owner. Yes. Property color. That's interesting. The property color is null. Game property color is null. Why is that? That shouldn't be. All right, we're done evaluating the monopoly. Get next player. Is the current player null? Current player null, yes. Why would current player null be yes? Oh no, we did the default icon. I'm sorry, the default outcome. So it's not null. So we get next player. It did not find a record here. Okay, found. We didn't find. So doing default outcome, I think it said. Yep, default outcome executed. Failed to find records here. Get next player 2. See, we should have found it here though, right? Find all player records where sequence is greater than or equal to 1 and the game. Oh crap, we're missing the game ID again. So that's going to mess us up. But still no, when it's null, we're checking for null. So that's exactly why we're not getting anything back. So okay, we have to pass that game ID or this isn't going to work. Yep, so without that we'd be kind of sunk. Okay, well, we made it kind of far. And I think we did end up getting a property out of this. So let's go see. Game properties. Ooh, maybe it's this one. I have no idea. Nope, it's not that one. I probably even to see last modified here would help. Yeah, okay. So when we did the game property, it looks like it didn't even update game property. Well, here it is. Where is it? Game ID. Let's look at this. Did not set the owner. Let's see. Did it not set the owner because... Huh. Oh, because did we bomb out before the transaction? Yeah, that's why. It rolled back the transaction. Okay. So because we didn't complete the transaction, it didn't work. So I feel like we should pass the game ID here to get next player, which is going to come from where? Right? Let's figure out what that's going to be. The turn, right? Do we have the turn loaded? Yeah, so we could get it from load turn. Load turn.game. There, that should help. I think we can actually just run that again because we didn't complete all the transactions in that turn anyway. All right, let's try that again. Run again. Oh, right. New version. Our record is, oh shoot. Here's our first turn. And there we go. All right, starting over, click to roll. Roll to 7. Cool. We did not roll a double. Some property is not owned. Would you like to buy it? Yep. Okay. All done. That was the end of my turn. Let's see what happened. This should have some stuff populated. We rolled a 7. We did not roll a double. We ended up with a property, which is, oh, we landed on chance. Okay, we're not doing anything with chance right now. So I bought chance. That shouldn't happen. Yeah, but I'm the owner of it, so I guess so in take turn, we bought chance? Question marks? Can't do that. I just don't think we have that condition mapped out yet. Okay, so that said, though, let's go back to the game. It should have created another turn. And it did. But it still thinks it went to player 0. So something's off. It knows the previous turn, but it set the wrong player on the next turn. So take turn is buggy for sure. Set the current player on the next turn. Let's go take a look at that. That might be, let's see, I was getting a little trigger happy. So either, well, can we see what came out of get next player? I guess that's the... So this is curious. So get next player, player sequence, here's the game, and this not the current player's ID. It found records successfully. So something's up with found yes here. Oh, this is in our get next player. So even though it found a resource next player, Well, that's odd. Okay, so this actually, well, let's see. Get next player. This is what we want to get a record back from and only get the first one. Found should, I don't know what next player is. What is that? That's what we're sending out. No, we want to evaluate get next player 1 is null false. Right? So if we find something there, go over here, set next player to that player. Otherwise, do it again. Set it to the first. Yeah. Okay, so that should correct that. So let's activate that, and then we can just roll back the data. I think here. Let's trash this turn. Delete that. We'll go back to our first turn. Actually, I want to go to that game property and probably roll some things back there also. But we can, let's edit this. We'll just rewind. We don't have a roll. Whoops. We don't have a roll. We don't have an outcome yet. This is the current turn. Okay. And then GP is not owned by anybody right now. There we go. All right. So do over. This is our turn again. Starting over. And I think we can run this again. Yep, that's our record. Just checking. All right, let's roll. We rolled a 10. Ooh, we rolled a double. I have no idea what this is going to do. 10 is going to take us to in jail just passing through. That's not really a great roll, honestly. Yeah, that's not gonna do a whole lot for us. We're probably gonna end up buying it on accident. So let's see what happens here. This property's not owned. Let's take a look at that step. This doesn't make any sense. Where do we evaluate? Let's see. This is really more like roll state than turn state. Load the position, land phase. Load game property dot record type dot name equals community chest. That's interesting. It doesn't. Because we hit this condition and didn't skip over it. That's curious. Well, it doesn't do anything anyway. Do we land on go to jail? No. Set game property on turn to jail. Set game property on turn. Go phase. Landed on go. Past go. No. We need a little bit more logic here, I think. So we need to evaluate that this is a property, right? So if load game property by position dot record type, what? Oh, dot property, right? Dot record type dot name equals property, right? Property without an owner. Let's make sure that this is property also. Oh, come on now. I hate that. Oh, that's so frustrating because it's so nice and easy to just like select stuff instead of got to do this whole thing all over again. Load game property, record type, name, can't still, name equals property. No owner, is not current player, so we need to evaluate property here. Okay. That's why we were just kind of blowing right through that condition, right? Where we're either landing on property or we're land. So up above here, our land phase, we're not doing anything with chance, community chest, etc. We might not need this land phase. We might just be able to go straight to go to jail, evaluate that, then move on to, we're evaluating special conditions here, right? Did you land on go to jail? If so, we got to do stuff. Did you land on go? If so, we got to do stuff. Did you land on property? I guess that could be the next evaluation, just to keep testing these things, because this could all be property related, and if not, skip it. Did you land on chance or community chest? We would evaluate that, so we don't have that condition. Did you land on free parking? That's a condition we don't have. So chance, community chest, a little bit of cleanup to do here. Similar pattern, I think. And we could maybe break these out. Like, I'm just trying to think, like, how could we maybe just to clean this up a little bit? Like, all right, we have a roll outcome phase, right? Let me write these down. Let's see, take turn phases, right? We could turn each of these into a subflow potentially. So we have a roll, let's see, evaluate roll phase. Hello, evaluate roll phase. And then we have because a roll can send you, to jail. You don't get to do anything. You just roll it the third time and you're out. If not, then you can take your steps. So then we have a position land phase. And that will determine if that's going to do things like well, now so we have specifics, right? We have go to jail in that phase. So we need to evaluate free parking. That's a special condition land. Go to jail is a special condition land. And then anything else is more, then we're just talking about property and things like that. Just visiting, right? Even that is like, that's a nothing burger. So we just don't do anything. We end the turn, but you can't buy it. That's the whole point. And you're not drawing a card for it. So those are the go. Sorry, go is a, land on go. Or pass go. That's another. Those are two other conditions we want to check for. So position land phase, and then we're on to let's see, So go to jail, go, or, and then I would just call it like, property. Property eval, evaluate property phase. And then it's either, then we're in end turn phase, right? Within evaluate property, we're going to purchase, we're going to auction, we're going to pay rent. And if we're not evaluating property, then we're evaluating cards, right? And then we're doing other things from there. So starting to bring some order to the chaos here. And I think we could break these out. Again, this is not, as long as it seems, this is not the craziest flow I've ever seen by any stretch. It does have some cadence to it. I think we could clean it up a little bit and either say, hey, when we've got these wide parts in here, let's turn each of these into a subflow, right, that we step in and out of with the necessary variables. It might give us a little bit more control and just separation of concerns. So take turn is just sort of like the spine. It does have to do all this setup at the start, but then it can pass things off as it needs to those subflows. Those subflows are, this is a fairly good sized subflow here, which I think they're going to get a little smaller, more compact, and more purposeful. But even still, just to isolate them, I think will be helpful. So, but we're at about the end of the show, and I'm not going to mess with anything more here. I am going to pull down my pull my source down so I don't lose anything, and I guess we'll call it a wrap. That's the first episode of Forceopoly in quite a while, and we did have to spend some time getting back up to speed on how things work, but I think we've got some decent direction forward on how to maybe clean up our flows. We know how the system is working. Lo and behold, a turn kind of worked, so I think that's pretty cool. We don't have any end game outcome. That's probably another evaluation step here. We've got, have you run out of money, those kinds of things, but that's way off. We also haven't done anything with auction, buying hotels, buying houses, but I think our mission in life right now should be to just try to get through a turn in a couple of happy paths, right? Buy property that's actually property, pay rent, go to jail, pass go, those are probably the easier ones. And then because I think community chest and chance are more complicated because we're introducing some more data, and then the last piece would be free parking and ending the turn, rolling a double, all those. So there's still a lot of stuff to do there, but it is, let's get through easy conditions of a turn, and then we'll make it more complicated as we need to. But with that, I'm going to say goodnight. I'm glad we're getting back in front of Forceopoly and doing some more stuff with that, and hope those that are looking for more Forceopoly content are happy to see some more stuff. So